everybody, and welcome to Reed's Read, Spider-Man Crawl Space Edition. Check us out at thespidermancrawlspace.com. Well, after recovering from a cold and some other issues here, I'm back to review, of course, Amazing Spider-Man number 11 and 12, 905 through 6 of the Legacy of the current Hobgoblin Return storyline by Zeb Wells and, of course, our buddy John Romita Jr. So what do we think as the Hobgoblin returns? And we get a little step closer to Dark Web after Spider-Man's been caught in crossover craziness the last couple of months. Well, both good and bad. And I'll start, of course, with the good, aka the pros. First of all, seeing John Romita Jr. draw everything here with the Hobgoblin and Peter Parker, it just feels like a classic Spider-Man story. Since John Romita Jr. was involved with the original Hobgoblin story and how everything composed back in the 80s during Roger Stern's run, it's just so amazing to actually see this. Because John Romita Jr. has not really drawn the Hobgoblin since Blood Brothers back in during the Clone Saga with Ben Reilly with the Cyber Hobgoblin. The artwork is really great with the definitely emotional pieces that we see between Betty Brant, Peter Parker, everything with the Hobgoblin and Spider-Man battling. It really just feels like classic Spider-Man. It's really brutal stuff that you expect between the Hobgoblin and Spider-Man. And I really do like some more of the quieter emotional beats we do get in the story between Peter and Norman, and of course some other pieces, of course, between Peter and Ned. But of course, also how there's a lot of continuity here, everything from the original Hobgoblin story to what happened later on with Hobgoblin Lives and so forth with the Winkler device and the horse mystery of the Hobgoblin. I like that how there's a bait and switch by Zeb Wells when he actually reveals it's not just one, but it's two Hobgoblins. That Kingsley actually pulled everything using Ned, once again thinking he was the Hobgoblin, why he portrayed it as himself, and then vice versa. Because the ending really leads to a wonderful little cliffhanger where Spider-Man is dealing with two Hobgoblins, knowing one, of course, is Roderick Kingsley, and the other one is, of course, his buddy Ned Leaves. And I also like the fact that we're doing little pieces with the emotional with the baby Winston and how this all has the pieces into it. It really feels like a nice little bit of a dark storyline. But that's kind of where we run into the cons. The problem is we're kind of in a way why it's doing a great use of the Hobgoblin pieces and so forth. We've been through this trope before about Roderick Kingsley, of course, deflecting, and of course that he set himself up with Norman trying to redeem himself when he took over all of Kingsley's businesses and ascensions during the Goblins of the Gate back in the late 90s, only to turn around that, of course, Roderick double-crossed Norman after everything and set everybody on him. So it's got a little problems with that, but it's also the same MO, right? Again, once again, it's never really the same Hobgoblin. It's Roderick Kingsley always using somebody else to brainwash and some other people's manipulation. Well, that's always been great about character. It kind of leads to some weird parts. Also, everything between Peter and Black Cat is ridiculous with him so nervous about, of course, asking her out on a date after everything happened in issue 900, and the fact is this is Peter just out of it, also continually pouring salt in the wounds with everything what, of course, Mary Jane and Peter Parker was. Also, of course, some other ones like Peter going, where's that debt collector? He was here a little bit, but don't worry, everybody, in Amazing Spider-Man 14, when Dark Web starts in a couple months, you'll get your answers. But otherwise, don't worry about that. Hey, how come Kamala Khan's actually doing all this work at her areas and Peter's kind of flaking her off for the whole golden goblin armor and everything? Well, hey, Kamala, just take care of it. Huh? What? Okay, Peter, I'll just do your stuff. That's not the Kamala Khan I loved and enjoyed as Ms. Marvel the last couple years. It's not even the Disney Plus version of Kamala, who is a much more stronger, independent character. We're also having a lot of parts with, of course, constant back and forth between Peter and Norman. Like, I'm trying to be good. I know you are, but I don't trust you. Well, I am trying to trust you, Norman. Well, I'm trying to do this. Well, I'm not doing that. Hey, this golden goblin armor is kind of cool. I shouldn't want to get on that glider, but maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. We've been through this constantly, and it doesn't lead to really good dialogue or character between these well-established characters. I know that Zeb Wells is trying to work a little pieces with Norman and trying to do with his missing his sins and this whole redemption arc kind of piece that we've been having ever since Nick Spencer's arc, but it's kind of back and forth and not really working. How Peter goes from trusting Norman to not trusting, trusting again, not trusting. Oh, we're back to this. At what point, Peter, pick a side? I get it, it's Peter Parker, and he does this in continuity with trying to, work with the guys who have tried to kill him or double-cross him over the years. But at the same point, is it ridiculous, as well as how Peter's kind of leaving everybody in a lurch, and him even going to, like, oh, yeah, about that mystery with the 6 months. Well, it was bad, but Norman helped me, but I don't trust him. But yeah, maybe I do trust him again. Oh, Kamala, I'm sorry you're doing everything with the golden goblin armor, but you know what? I got to do some things that I can't tell you about because we don't know we're Ms. Marvel and Peter Parker anymore. it's kind of ridiculous. And like I said, the pieces improve. But however, the story is very split between very good and very bad, as well as we know there's another factor in the background, as we've seen the Queen Goblin, of course, in the background of all this storyline, and she's been teased on several other issues. So we got the nice little mystery in the back, and when knowing that both Roderick and Ned are being manipulated by greater pieces, which also in a way manipulates Norman Osborn, which manipulates Spider-Man. So there's a lot of backstabbing and shadow storylines with it, and the artwork is fantastic, and there's a nice flow. So out of both issues, after reading both back to back, because I wouldn't have as much of a strong feeling with issue 11 versus 12, I'm going to actually have to give both issues a B-, actually. When they're all set together, the artwork and the stories make sense, but unfortunately it falls down with weird mischaracterization, continuity thrown out the door with someone's, and of course the classic, I'm emotionally damaged. But let's try this date out, and let's do some of this other established stuff, which we've been there and looks kind of ridiculous. But it's not bad in the long run, so I'll give both issues a B- out of the pros and cons of this Hobgoblin storyline, and I'm definitely looking to see how this all ends and what leads to Dark Web as we get ready for everything, as the pieces are being set. So not too bad in that one. So pretty good, guys. B- all around for these two issues. And with that, guys, despite everything else, I'm going to check on out of here. I'll be back next week to actually review a couple of the Spider-Man miniseries, including Iron Cat, as well as some part about the Savage Spider-Man as we get ready to wrap up the Hobgoblin storyline here in a couple of weeks. So for more, everyone, please check us out at thespidermancrawlspace.com for all your wonderful information. Check out our Discord and social media, and of course, our YouTube channel for more of the latest Spider-Man news, interviews, and of course, just wacky, wall-crawling fun, everybody. And on that note, everyone, I'll see everyone on the crawl space.